In this video, we're going to be going over the mirroring modifier, and I'm going to just add one here really quick. I'm going to go to, in the properties editor, I'm going to go to the wrench icon, add modifier, and then I'm going to go down under generate until I get to mirror, which is almost in the middle of the list in that column. And a couple things about mirroring really quick is that you can choose which axis you mirror across. You can also when you apply it, you can choose if you want to merge the sides or not, as well as vertex groups, meaning that if you have them labeled right on one side, you can have it so it labels them left when you mirror it. Pretty handy. Also, you can mirror the texture so that if you have it mapped one way, you can actually mirror that pattern, or you can make it so it doesn't mirror it, so it treats it all as a separate object. And then you can set the limit for merge. Usually I leave that setting alone, but if you had things that you wanted to be able to get really close together but still not joined together, but you had some that were like overlapping that you wanted to merge, then you could change that number to affect that. And then mirror object, I'll go ahead and do this one right now. So let's add a object into the scene here. I'm going to do Shift A, and actually I'm in that little window there, so it's just typing A's there, so I'm going to do Shift A, and I'm going to go ahead and put in a torus. I'm going to move the torus out a little bit for this, and then I'm going to go back to my cube. I'm going to select the torus object, and with the torus selected, if I hit R and Z, and let's just type in 90 so it moves it kind of precisely there. Click. It's more than 90 degrees, just saying. And if I hit G for grab and move this along, say, the y-axis, then as the torus gets further away from our original cube, the other cube is going to get further away from the torus because it's mirroring the distance away from the object, and it's also mirroring it based on wherever it lined up vertically on this object going around. I'm going to go ahead and hit escape. And we could also do that similarly with rotating sideways, where if I hit R and Y, I actually don't see it do any rotation there with it. So it's just a matter of, however, if I rotate this object now, then I get the cube going around based on the actual object I'm using as the mirror object, how it rotates. So you get some very weird connections there. So anyway, that's how that works. I'm going to actually delete my torus. I'm going to go back to my cube here, and I'm going to tab into the cube. I still have my mirror set here, so I'm going to tab. I'm going to put in a loop cut along the y-axis here. I'm going to do X and select face mode. I'm going to delete the other half of this object. Say face. Actually, let's undo that. Let's do vertices. So X, vertices. I still have half the cube there, and if I go over to the modifier and I click on the little eyeball icon, I see it not there. If you don't see the other half of your cube, it might be that you were mirroring in the Y. You might have deleted the other direction, right? Because if I click this off and I click this one on, now I'm mirroring in this direction along that Y-axis. I could also do it along the Z-axis. I could do all the axes if I wanted to. For instance, if I took this and let's say, let's put in another loop cut here. And then I'm going to go to face mode, and let's say I have this inset, and I'm going to hit E to pull it out. Even though I didn't do that over here, it's mirroring across the X, it's mirroring across the Y, and it's also mirroring across the Z axis, because I have all those turned on. So if I uncheck Z, uncheck Y, now I get it just in those two aspects. If I in doing something like this and I extrude out parts of this, I should also be aware that on the inside, I'm still creating faces. If you're using a subdivision modifier, then you're going to want to delete those inside faces so that you don't have them doing like really weird things with the model and stuff. We'll get into that in a later one too as well, but that's basically how this works. And it's a very useful tool to merge it all together as one object. Just click apply, except for you have to be in object mode to do that. So I'm going to tab out, click apply, and that's all there is to it.